remind you some points of this webinar. We will not give the floor to the participants at this stage. We will only take written questions. So please make use of the chat box that is available on your screen. And at the end of the presentation from Dr. Apisit, we will read your question and try to answer them. So I'm happy today to introduce you Dr. Apisit Kittawornrat. He is from CP, Thailand. Dr. Apisit has worked as a veterinarian and swine practitioner for 18 years in CPF, pig business. His expertise covers swine productivity, epidemiology, infectious disease transmission, biosecurity, and public health. Dr. Apisit, if you're ready, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hope everybody can hear me well. And okay, let's start for sharing my screen. Okay. Okay. Good. Everything. So first, I would like to thank OIE for having me on this talk, and hope that this presentation may useful for you more or less. So for the go to the next slide. Please let me know if you have any problem, if you not quite about the hear me about the detail of the slides. Okay, if you know any problem, I will go on. So before we go talk to about the biosecurity for the pig farm, I would like to make sure that everybody understand the same about the biosecurity for the big farm. So for the big farm, you should have 9 items for the biosecurity. For the first one is the shower in, shower out. You cannot say that you are the big farm, big pig farm, if you go to work inside without shower in and go out without shower out. This is necessary for the commercial farm today. And the second thing is what kind of the water do you use in your farm? For the CP, usually we use underground water and also treat it with chlorinate. Because some farms use the outsourced water from the outside, for example, from the river, from the canal, and that a potential risk for the contamination. And then your farm must also have a fence around the animal area. I focus on the animal area that the fence can prevent the dog and cat and also cattle to go to your farm. And the next is about the worker. Worker reside or live or stay outside the animal area, because if your farm let the worker stay with the animal, that also potential risk. And you must check for the feed that come from the reliable source. If you are integrated or commercial pig farm, you also use the feed from your feed mill. However, sometimes you use feed buy feed from the outsource. You need to check that the material for your feed is from the reliable source. And farm should also provide meal for their work, for their worker, because if you allow the worker to cook for themselves, this is difficult to control about the source of the protein, like a pork or beef. And then the next is every equipment before moving inside, you need to have a disinfect. And the next is for your farm, you must have isolation and quarantine unit, to make sure that not your pig that carry the pathogen or disease. And the last one is for the biosecurity training. One of your program for your worker, you must rehearsal or training about the biosecurity to your worker. So why we talk about the selling process in biosecurity, because based on our data, we found that 70% of the contamination or outbreak to our farm is from the selling house or selling process. Why we confident that? Because it may occur the outbreak anytime when we sell pig or sell the culling pig. So that's a point that we need to concern. The next source of outbreak is a worker and followed by guilt. So, but today the time is really limited. I focus on about the selling process for the biosecurity. Before we go to the selling process and the biosecurity, let me present you about the 3 basic rules of thumb of the biosecurity. The first one is the exclusion. The exclusion means that anything that not necessary for your farm, let's keep it out. For example, guests or visitor, not any benefit to your farm, let it out. Or any material or equipment from the African swine fever outbreak country, should keep it out. So the rule number 2 is segmentation or separation. So anything that you need to use both outside and inside your farm, you should separate. For example, your truck, your equipment, your computer should be separate. However, not everything can separate or can avoid. The third concept is that if you need to use both outside and inside your farm, you need to have infectious chain management. So we have many management that can control for the infection from the outside to inside, for example, or in or out, cleaning and disinfection. And also about the isolation and quarantine, downtime, pest control, and staff for this activity can manage about the link between the infection outside into inside to your farm. So let's go back to why selling process is important. Because as you know that the slaughterhouse is a source of many from many pig and also source of the many pathogen, because the customer buy pig from many pig farm, and we cannot know that which farm is high health or low health. So, and as it show in the picture, in some slaughterhouse is really poor in sanitation, and this also contribute to the poor sanitation to the butcher in fresh market. So, as I mentioned before, that the slaughterhouse source of the pathogen. So, when the customer pick up the pig to your farm, that also carry the disease or pathogen to your farm. For example, when they pick up the pig, especially in the culling pig, because culling pig means pig not unhealthy, so may cause of the infection, and they go to your farm. If your farm have a poor management about the selling process, then it cause of the contamination into your farm. So this picture shows that the link between the slaughterhouse to our pig farm by the customer truck, because the customer truck is really difficult to control the sanitation and cleaning, because they can pick up pig to many to any farm, right? So based on the rule that I mentioned before about the segmentation or separation, that we should separate the customer truck and farm truck by we have a station to avoid that the customer truck go directly to our farm. And we call the station is a central selling house. And this central selling house can prevent the customer truck go to pig farm. We have two sides, customer truck and gonna pick up the pig from the central selling house. And we have a farm truck that can controlled by company. And so this is a picture that showed that, for example, when the pig for the farm that load for the piglet, winning piglet, we have a chute that a truck outside not directly contact to the truck inside at the chute, and we train our worker that not cross the chute to the customer or delivery truck. And we have a station on the show in the picture. And every time when we have a transportation both outside and inside, we have the washing area as shown in the picture. So this also another kind of chute for the breeder pig. For the breeder pig, we have a station, a small area that link between the pig inside and outside that easy and facilitate the pig from inside to the delivery truck. So again, with the central selling house, it can help about our biosecurity to control the when in case of we pick up the pig from the contact farming, because in the contact farming we may pick up pig from many house and go directly to the central selling house. Every time when we go back to the another pig farm, we need to clean and disinfectant. And the recommend for the central selling house and the pig farm, it should be at least 3 kilometers. So this layout to show the central selling house for the pig farm at the farm site. The company truck, or we call buffer truck, to pick up the pig at the load out, and then the pig from on the buffer truck go to the load in to the central selling house. And again, the customer truck not go directly to the pig farm, and they go to the outside and at the load out for the central selling house for pick up the finishing pig. So this is a cartoon diagram that to show the layout of the central selling house. You can see that the red zone is a dirty zone. That's for the customer truck for pick up the pig, and the green color is the clean zone for the farm truck that for deliver finishing pig to the central selling house. And the point is we need to separate between clean and dirty zone. So again, for the truck, we need to make sure that the truck is clean enough. I give you 3 words for the truck. That's the first one is clean, disinfectant, and downtime. So for the truck, we separate in 2 parts. We need to consider. The first one is the container part and the cabin part. For the container part, for the truck, we need to have a responsible person who take care and cleaning for the truck and we need to have a cross check to make sure that they clean good enough for next load of the transportation. Because in the practical, we may see that the truck that's not clean enough and still have a feces on the truck, as shown in the picture. So for the washing area, the farm should provide a washing area and facilitate to easy the cleaning for the truck, both outside and inside the truck. This picture shows that the some point that we need to concern, for example, floor mat, that we need to clean, and the concern of the truck, or you for some area that are difficult to disinfect, you may use the UV light to kill the bacteria or virus inside the cabin of the truck. Okay, now this is my take-home message. The rule number one is should not allow the customer truck to your farm. That's a safe place for the your pig farm. And the second one is a limitation of the pig movement. Anytime you move the pig, that may possible have a risk for the contamination. The third one is don't sell the dead pig for the local market or local slaughterhouse. That also may cause for the contamination to your farm. Okay. Finally, again, I would like to thank OAE and CPF and Swai Veterinary Service for our team for support our information and data. Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Apisit, for your presentation. While waiting for the participant to possibly write any questions for you, I would have maybe not questions, but if you could detail a bit more some of the points. My first point would be with regard to you indicating that 60% of the risk for contamination could come from. Can you hear me?
Sorry. Okay.
So,
again, please.
If you could provide a bit more details, you indicated that 60% of the risk of introduction of a pathogen in your establishment was coming from workers. And so my question to you now is, what are the plans, what are the measures taken to prevent the workers to introduce pathogens in the farm?
Thanks for the question. That's how do we make sure that our worker not carry any pathogen to the pig farm. First, we educate them